Hello, Storytimers. It's Miss Sharon here, and I'm on today to share a book with you. The book is Armadillo Tattletale, and this is a book that is written by Helen Ketteman. She wrote the words and the story, and Keith Graves put the pictures in the book, and they both granted us permission to share this book with you, as did Echo Point Publishers. So thank you for that. And here's our story for today. Armadillo Tattletale. In the bare bones beginning, Armadillo's ears were as tall as a jackrabbit's and as wide as a steer's horns. With such wonderful ears, Armadillo could hear anything and everything, and he loved nothing better than eavesdropping on other animals and telling tales about what he heard. But as good as his ears were for hearing, they dragged in the dirt and stuck in the muck after a rain, and they always made him trip. Thus, Armadillo was the slowest of creatures. See the watering hole? And since the other animals disliked him for telling tales, they beat him to the watering hole every day and forced Armadillo to scrounge through the mud for a puddle of murky water to drink. It tasted awful and practically made him sick, so he drank as little as possible and was always thirsty. You see his ears? One day, as Armadillo stumbled around searching for a puddle, he overheard Egret whisper to Turtle, "Blue Jay's feathers are looking a bit scraggly. I wonder if the poor bird is sick. I'll call on him tomorrow to see if I can be some help." See Armadillo down here, Blue Jay up here? But Armadillo went to Blue Jay first, twitching his little tail as he spoke. "I heard Egret talking about you," he said in a sing-song voice. "She thinks you're scraggly looking." Blue Jay squalled and he bawled and he squawked and he gawked, and he otherwise threw one humongous hissy fit. Squawk, squawk, awk. When Egret heard what had happened, she went straight away to Armadillo. "What you told Blue Jay was not true. Anyway, my words were not for your ears." And she pick-pecked his ears good and proper, and she gave him the what for and the how come and the why not. Armadillo cried great big armadillo tears, and he promised never to tell tales again. But the next day, see those ears? While searching the mud for a sip of water, Armadillo heard muskrat and butterfly talking, and he hid in the bushes to listen. "Rattlesnakes rattle used to be terribly out of tune, but now they sound wonderful. She must be taking music lessons," said Muskrat. Armadillo tiptoed over to where Rattlesnake lay warming herself in the sun. He shifted his weight from side to side, foot to foot, in an awkward armadillo dance. Rattlesnake opened one eye, and Armadillo grinned. "I heard what Muskrat talking about you. He said your rattles sound terrible and out of tune." Well, Rattlesnake rattled, and she prattled, and she fussed, and she cussed, and she otherwise threw one humongous hissy fit. Rattle, hiss, hiss. When Muskrat heard what had happened, he scurried to Armadillo. "You twisted my words into something I did not say," he shrieked. "Besides, my words were not for your ears." And he whipped-whacked his tail at Armadillo and gave him the what for and the how come and the why not. Armadillo cried buckets of tears, and he promised never, ever to tell tales again. But the next day, while slogging through the mud looking for a drink, see his ears right here, Armadillo saw Alligator and Blue Heron talking, and he stepped behind a rock to listen. "Toad's skin is looking so much better than it used to. I wonder if she changed her diet," said Alligator. Armadillo shuffled off to find Toad. I heard Alligator talking, say your skin is plug ugly and you should go on a diet, he said with a twinkle in his eye. Toad hopped and she flopped and she wailed and she railed and she otherwise threw one humongous hissy fit. Croak, ribbit, croak. When Alligator found out what Armadillo had said, she hurried to find him. Why did you tell Toad those things? I never said them, she snapped. Anyway, my words were not for your ears. And she gave him the what for and the how come and the why not. Oh, poor Armadillo, he's being held up by his ears. And now, she said, I'll fix your ears so you won't be snooping and telling tales again. And she opened her mouth and gnashed and clashed her big, strong alligator teeth. And then she nipped and snipped and clipped at Armadillo's ears until there was nothing left but tiny, teeny, itsy, weeny little ears. When she finished, Armadillo looked at his reflection in a puddle. His ears were so tiny, and then he started to cry. Oh my, did he cry. He raised such a ruckus that all the animals came to see what had happened. When they saw his ears, his new, tiny, teeny, itsy, weeny little ears, they stared and they gawked and they whispered. Armadillo stopped crying. What? He asked. What are you whispering? Everyone gaped at Armadillo because for the first time he hadn't quite heard. It was not for your ears anyway, Muskrat called out. Armadillo's face turned red. I did not hear the whispers, but I heard that, he said, chasing after Muskrat. In seconds, Armadillo caught him. Did you see how fast Armadillo ran? Muskrat shouted. He didn't trip at all, said Blue Jay. Why, he's so fast, now we'll never be able to keep him away from the fresh water, said Rattlesnake. See the animals talking about Armadillo? Armadillo felt his tiny, teeny, itsy-weeny little ears. Fresh water, he shouted. That is just what I want, and it's fun to run fast. Then he danced and raced in circles and zigzags all the way to the watering hole, where he drank as much fresh, clear water as he wanted. From now on, I will never be thirsty again, he said, and he wasn't. He also stopped telling tales, for even though he could hear with his tiny, teeny, itsy-weeny little ears, he could not overhear the other animals' conversations. To this day, armadillos have small ears. They always drink their fill of fresh water, and you may hide in the bushes and listen as long as you like, but you will never, ever catch an armadillo telling tales. And there's our armadillo sipping all the fresh water he wanted. And that's our story for today. Armadillo Tattletale by Helen Ketteman.